Okay, now we'll go into the loading to Snowflake part. So we'll extract and load the data and into Snowflake. However, I haven't told you what data we have. So in the lecture notes, you have a data folder, which I'll move into here and move it into setup DLT. So as a start, we'll start with a simple CSV file. Netflix originals.csv. So if you go into this one, we have actually I can right click and open preview. So you need to install an extension for CSV preview to do this. Otherwise, you can watch it in a spreadsheet program. So here, this is a normal CSV file, so it's separated with a comma, and you have here title, genre, premiere, etc., etc. So we have a lot of data. We have the data locally actually now. It could have been in an S3 bucket. It could have been in Azure Blob. It could be in Google Cloud Platform or somewhere else. It could even be in GitHub, for example. However, we have it locally. So this is what I want to load this data into Snowflake. So let's go into load Snowflake. Okay, now I will clean up this file. So we'll remove these parts. We only need the DLT. We will remove the source part. We'll keep the resources. However, we'll change the resources a little bit. We'll remove the yield part here. We'll remove all this. And we'll have, we can start with putting a pass here. And we'll also remove this part. We don't need it right now. Yes, I don't need this. Throw this away. Like this. So now we clean up this file a little bit. We need a resource, but we don't need so much more. We have the pipeline. It will load. It's called load Snowflake. Destination is Snowflake. This dataset name. This is actually the schema. So it's staging schema. So this is the schema. Note that we created this staging schema before in the movies database, right? And it finds the movies database through the secrets.toml. So, however, now let's do like this. We have this Netflix file here, right? I want to read it in. So I need to do import pandas as pd. And I will also do like this. We start with reading it in. So in order to read it in, let's see, we need to have a relative path. So we need to have from pathlib, import path, and I will also import OS operative system. So let's do like this. We remove the data as well. Remove the data. No. Or actually we can have the data like this. Okay, now we'll read in this file. So let's do that. We'll do that in here. So df equals pd.read CSV. And we'll read in the file path. And I will also add some keyword arguments because we'll need that later. So file path, it's a string, and we will read this in. And then remember that we had yield in the resource, and with yield it means that we're returning one by one. So you can use it for doing pagination. So you can choose to not return everything at once. Instead, you return some part at once. So we'll have a yield statement here. So yield df.toDiff dict, and we do orient equals records. So in order, when we do this, we will have data as in JSON format. So here we read in the CSV of this file path. So what is left is that we need to define this file path. So in order to do that, we will do like this: working directory equals path of under file dot parent. So here, let me clean the terminal so it removes the clutter, and we can print the working directory. When I run this one, we can see that we got an error because the file path, yeah, it's missing, right? So I will comment this out for now. I will comment this out also. I will run this one, remove this here. So you can see that, yes, the file path is 06 setup DLT. Perfect. So we found this this folder, right? So this is the working directory. So we will also need to do like this. When we need to be in, actually I need to move this. I will move this up a little bit. I'll move this up like this. And then I need to do os.change there. I'll change to the working directory. And this is because when we run this pipeline later on, we need to be in this folder in order to access the secrets.toml file. So this is in DLT. So we have the working directory and we have printed the working directory. Perfect. So we need to find the data now. So it's load Snowflake resource. We need to put in the file path, right? So working directory slash. This is doing a concatenation of paths. So we're in setup DLT. We have the absolute path to that one. So if I do slash data now, I will have the absolute path to the data, and then I will do slash this file's name, Netflix originals.csv, like this. And now I can print the data which we have. Let's see what happens here. It says, so it has in processing pipe load, it's something UTF-8 codec. Okay, this has to do with how the data is coded. So we need to add in a keyword argument. Let's see, list of that. I will not do list of that. I'll use this resource. I'll put in a keyword argument, which will go into when pandas are reading the CSV. So what I need is an encoding. Encoding equals Latin1. I did Shift Alt F for doing black formatting. So for that, you need to install black formatter extension. So I will run this one. And now we see that we got the data. Let me run it again. And the data is basically in JSON format. That is what it's meant when we do orient equals records. So each row becomes one record in the list. So we've got the Netflix data. However, we've just printed it out, right? So now it becomes interesting. So I don't just want to print it out. I want to be able to load it. So I will just uncomment this one. Oh, let me go back here. I command K, command U, or control K, control U if you're in Windows. So let's see. So pipeline.run. Source, instead of source here, we have basically it's data. And I will choose the table name as well. Table name equals Netflix. And I will do command K, command U to uncomment this one, so we print the load information. So I run this one and see what happens. Yes, it's loading, takes some time. Here, it's done. So pipeline load Snowflake took 17.38 seconds. Snowflake destination used this one to store the data, and it loaded this. Contains no failed jobs. Great, it sounds good. Let's have a look. Let's go into worksheets. We can create. Let's see if I have it in. We can create a new worksheet. Check loaded data. That's equal. Okay, here. Let's do it like this. Use role. Let me change to Snowflake. Use role. What was it called? Movies reader, right? This was the role we had for reading. Use database movies. Right. And now we show schemas. Show schemas like this. Run this one. Okay, what schemas do we have? We have information schema, of course, and we have the staging schema. But the staging schema, it was already created manually, right? We didn't use DLT for that, and that's fine and good. So let's do show tables in schema, or we can actually use the schema. Use schema staging like this. So we're using the schema. So the usage grant was correct. We can do show tables like this, and we run this one. Query produce no results. Okay, interesting. Okay, so it showed no results, right? Because probably I don't have enough grants, and that is, I see an error here, which I may, why that is. Because we have grant select on future tables in database movies. We should have granted future tables in schema movies.staging, right? And also, when I run this one, let's see, we're in wrong role. So I run this one and I run this one. So this one works now. And also, since now we already have a schema and we already have a table in that schema that is already created, we should use this grant select on all again then. So I run this one and we see that, yeah, 4 objects has been affected. And that is because there were 4 objects that were loaded into this, into the staging. So I go back here and I take a look at use schema staging, right? We'll go into this role again. Use this one, show schemas, we have the same, use schema staging and show tables. Now we see that what happens when we are loading, we'll get this data, this table, and this table. So it's for the DLT, so that you DLT metadata, so you can have a look at the history. And the Netflix, this is the data that is interesting for us. So we can select star on Netflix, limit 10, run this one. No active warehouses, of course. Let me change that. Use warehouse, del warehouse like this. Run this one, and then I run this one. Yes, it works. Oh, that is great. So we have loaded the data, and we see that, yeah, they have a DLT load ID as well, and DLT ID. Super great. So we've loaded the data from our CSV file into Snowflake. So and if you want to, you can go and check into Snowflake, and we can have a look there actually. So I will change to my browser here. And this is how it looks in Snowflake. So we have, you might need to update it, run it again, update it, and you see that the movies, we have information schema, public, and staging. However, why didn't you see public before? Well, because you were in another role, movies DLT role, reader, which didn't have access to public. However, I'm in account admin, so I can see it. So in staging, we can see our tables, and we see Netflix table, and you can see here that it has loaded this data. So we can have a look at the data, and let's see the columns. Yeah, these are the columns. Yes, great. And so now you've managed to load the data into Snowflake from a CSV file. So that is a very good start. So in the next lectures, we will go into loading from API. We will load from Postgres SQL as well. Thank you. Bye.